Welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive into some really fundamental questions you brought up from your sources. How do societies actually try to control crime? And what's punishment really for? It's not just a simple case of right and wrong, is it? As we'll see, it gets deeply political, and different viewpoints give us, well, vastly different answers. We've got some fascinating material here breaking down the big sociological theories about preventing crime and the role of the whole penal system. So get ready to maybe rethink some things you thought you knew about justice and social control.
Absolutely. And what's so interesting, I think, is just how varied these approaches are. You got everything from literally redesigning spaces to stop crime,
Mm-hmm.
right through to tackling the very root causes in society, and then how sociologists look at punishment not just as like a consequence, but something with much broader social functions. So our mission here is to really pull out those key insights from your material, connect the dots for you, so you can walk away with a really solid, well-informed view on all this.
Okay, let's get into them. We can start by exploring three main kinds of crime prevention strategies highlighted in the sources.
Crime prevention.
Prevention strategies, designing society or changing people. Right, first up, situational crime prevention. This is where it gets really interesting, I think. It's strongly linked with realism, that perspective focusing on, practical solutions, individual responsibility.
Yeah, and the core idea, the really striking thing, is that instead of trying to, fix the person, this approach says, let's fix the place.
Yeah.
It runs on the idea that a lot of crime is basically opportunistic.
Yeah.
So the focus shifts, away from why someone does it onto the actual environment.
Okay.
The goal is literally to design crime out.
Mhm.
Think of things like, well, obvious ones like more CCTV
Yeah.
or target hardening. That basically means making things tougher to steal or break into. Stronger locks, maybe anti-climb paint, that sort of thing. Even just better street lighting fits this.
But hang on, there are criticisms here, aren't there? What's the main pushback against this?
Oh, definitely. That's a really key point. The big concern is, does it actually solve crime? Or does it just, move it around?
Right.
Critics argue it completely sidesteps the deeper reasons why people commit crime in the first place. It might just displace it so
Yeah.
crime goes to another area or happens at a different time where criminals just pick a softer target.
Yeah, you're just shifting the problem, not solving it.
Exactly. It doesn't address the roots.
Okay, that makes sense. So if situational focuses on the immediate opportunity, what about when the environment itself seems to almost invite crime because it looks neglected? That takes us to environmental crime prevention, right? And the famous broken windows theory.
Yes, exactly. Linked to Wilson and Kelling. And this theory, it's powerful, almost symbolic. It suggests that if an area looks run down, litter, graffiti, broken windows left unfixed, it sends out a signal. Nobody cares here. Disorder is okay. And that perception, that feeling of neglect, can start a kind of downward spiral, making more serious crime feel more possible, more likely.
So the solution proposed then is this zero tolerance idea, clamping down on even the small stuff to stop that spiral.
Precisely. That's the logic. Maintain visible order. Show the community is cared for. Fix the broken windows literally and metaphorically fast. The idea is that this discourages the bigger problems from taking root.
Right. Okay, and then completely different from those two, we've got social and community crime prevention. This sounds like it comes from a totally different place philosophically.
It really does. This is much more favored by left realism, the view that, crime mostly stems from social inequalities, deprivation, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So this approach, it shifts the focus dramatically. It says, forget just tweaking the environment or cracking down on minor stuff. We need to get tough on the causes of crime.
Tough on the causes. Okay, so what does that actually look like in practice? What kind of interventions are we talking about?
Well, the solutions become much bigger picture, really. Things like seriously improving education, creating real job opportunities, better housing, boosting social services, especially in those areas that are struggling the most. The ultimate goal is, trying to build a fairer, more equal society where people just have fewer reasons, fewer pressures pushing them towards crime, tackling it at the source, punishment, and the penal system. What's the true purpose?
Okay, so we've covered those prevention strategies. Now let's pivot a bit and look at punishment itself and the penal system. Your sources show sociologists have really different ideas about why we punish, which is fascinating. Functionalists like Emil Durkheim, they saw punishment as, well, crucial for holding society together, didn't they?
That's right. Durkheim's big insight was that punishment isn't just about the person who did wrong. It's more like a performance for everyone else.
A performance.
Yeah, a way to really strongly reaffirm the shared values, the norms,
Yeah.
what he called the collective conscience. It's like the moral glue of society. Punishing someone who breaks the rules reinforces those rules for everyone, and that keeps society unified, maintains social solidarity. And he also pointed out a kind of historical shift. In like pre-modern societies, punishment was often really harsh, public stocks or public executions. That was retributive justice, basically expressing the community's anger and outrage.
Visceral stuff. And how did that change in modern societies, according to him?
Well, in modern societies, which are much more complex with everyone doing specialized jobs, he said punishment tends to move towards restitutive justice,
Restitutive, meaning?
meaning it's more about restoring the balance,
Mhm.
fixing the harm done, maybe through compensation or trying to rehabilitate the offender,
Mm.
rather than just pure public revenge. It's about repairing the social fabric.
Okay, got it. Now let's contrast that with the Marxist view. I imagine they're a lot more critical of the whole system.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
For Marxists, punishment is fundamentally seen as a tool used by the ruling class. It's about maintaining their power and control over the rest of society. Their key argument is that the whole criminal justice system, laws, courts, prisons, it tends to disproportionately target and punish working class people, while the crimes of the powerful, corporate crime, financial fraud, often get overlooked or aren't even defined as crime in the same way.
So it props up the existing power structure.
Essentially, yes.
Right. Now this is where it gets really, really thought-provoking, I think. Michel Foucault, a post-structuralist thinker, his ideas about surveillance, discipline, they're quite unique, maybe even a bit unsettling.
They really are. Foucault's argument is pretty radical. He says there's been this massive fundamental shift in how we punish it. We've moved away from punishment as this big public show, inflicted directly on the body, torture, execution, what he calls sovereign power, towards something much more subtle, a pervasive kind of control that works on the mind, on behavior. He called this disciplinary power.
Disciplinary power. And he used the panopticon prison design to explain this, right?
Exactly. The panopticon is the perfect symbol for him. It's that circular prison where the guards in the central tower can see any prisoner at any time, but the prisoners can't see if they're being watched.
Right, so you never know.
You never know. And that constant possibility of being watched makes prisoners behave. They start to discipline themselves, just in case.
Okay, I see.
And Foucault's really chilling point was that this idea, this mechanism, has spread way beyond prisons. We now live, arguably, in a kind of panopticon society.
Yeah.
Surveillance is everywhere, isn't it? CCTV, data tracking online, monitoring at work, even just social pressures and norms. It all subtly shapes us, disciplines us into conforming, often without us even consciously thinking about it.
So the control becomes internalized. Wow.
Precisely.
Outro. So after unpacking all that from your research, where does this leave your understanding of crime and justice? We've gone through these really distinct ways of thinking about prevention, designing out opportunity, fixing broken windows, tackling deep social causes. And then these totally different takes on punishment. Is it about reinforcing shared values, maintaining class control, or this kind of subtle, pervasive surveillance Foucault talks about?
Yeah, I mean, this deep dive really hammers home that there's no single easy answer here, is there? It's this incredibly complex mix of different theories, political leanings, social goals, all kind of wrestling with each other.
It definitely makes you think. And it raises a big question for you, listening now, especially with technology the way it is. In this world with more and more surveillance, where exactly do we draw that line between ensuring safety and potentially falling into pervasive control? And, what does real justice even look like when you're trying to balance keeping society orderly with protecting individual freedoms? Something to definitely mull over.
Thank you for joining us on this really fascinating exploration of crime control, punishment, and the penal system, drawing on these sociological insights. We hope it's given you a really solid framework for thinking about these super important parts of society.